Those who are aspiring to write civil service exam in the year 2026-2027, CSB-IS Academy is starting a new batch on April 23rd on Wednesday. The new name of the batch is Vishwavasu. As this is a Telugu New Year this year, Vishwavasu batch we are launching on April 23rd with our auspicious name. Those who are interested to take coaching online or offline in English medium, they can approach CSB-IS Academy. They can directly come to the Hyderabad and take coaching, or they can access this coaching online also. This coaching, the time frame of this coaching is 11 months and we cover all the subjects with respect to prelims and mains. Those who are really interested to take coaching for civil services, they can access CSB-IS Academy through these phone numbers. They can call, they can ask their queries. The phone numbers are displayed on in front of the video and also in the comments box of the video. Thank you. Phone numbers and further details can be found in the description box below the video. Interested candidates who want to join this course can fill the Google form which is given in the description box below the video.
Hello everyone. So today we are going to have a look at the most important current affairs in the newspapers. And as part of it, one of the most important development is the news article on the elevation of Justice B.R. Gawai as the next CJI of India. In fact, he would become the 52nd CJI of India, replacing the current 51st CJI, that is Justice Sanjeev Khanna. In fact, if you look at the Supreme Court of India, the position of Chief Justice is usually reserved to the senior most judge in the court. In fact, already the 51st CJI, that is Sanjeev Khanna, he has sent a recommendation to the Indian government saying that Justice B.R. Gawai is going to be the next CJI. In fact, if we observe this, Justice B.R. Gawai's background, B.R. Gawai's full name is Bhushan Ramakrishna Gawai. And he belongs to Amaravati district in Maharashtra, and he was the son of Ramakrishna Suryaban Gawai, who was a very prominent Ambedkarite leader of India. In fact, Suryaban Gawai has worked as the governor of Bihar. He has been elected as the member of parliament, and he belonged to the political party of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar by the name of Republican Party of India. In fact, it is said that Bhushan Ramakrishna Gawai is in fact a practicing Ambedkarite Buddhist, and he has given some substantial judgments in the Indian Supreme Court, ranging from the support to revocation of Article 370, striking down on the electoral bond scheme. Then apart from that, he is the person who in fact gave some guidelines on the bulldozer justice aspect, which has become rampant in Indian society. Let's hope and look forward to some more good judgments by this Honorable Chief Justice of India. In one more important development, the Supreme Court of India, hearing to multiple petitions filed against the Waqf Amendment Act of 2025, has made some interesting observations. The first and foremost observation is with respect to deletion of Waqf by use concept. Primarily because many of the mosques and charitable institutions in Islam have been set up almost hundreds of years ago, and how can they produce the sale deed or any registration deed on how they became a Waqf is the first question that has been raised. Because we know very well that in India, the Waqf properties have been present from almost the 12th century, and where will the Waqf be able to find all the registration deeds is the question that has been raised. Then the second important observation that has been made is how can the non-Muslims be made party to the Waqf board and Waqf managing institutions is the second question that has been raised. And the third question is, any practitioner of Islam should at least be 5-year-old practitioner of Islam in order to dedicate the properties to the Waqf is one more rule that has been brought in through the Amendment Act. And the Supreme Court said that this is a direct contravention of Article 26, which provides any individual the right to form and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes. So this is compromised, that is Article 26 is compromised. Then the third major observation made by the Supreme Court is, in case of a dispute between the government and Waqf with respect to any property, the government has made a provision that it can freeze the working of Waqf, which is in fact not acceptable, is something else which the Supreme Court has said. Then along with that, the application of inheritance rights to the properties which have been given away as Waqf is also one more important observation which has been made by the Supreme Court of India. In fact, the Supreme Court did not give any interim order on the Waqf Amendment Act, and it has posted the hearings for 17th April, Thursday, that is today. So let's wait for what the interim order of the Supreme Court is going to be. In fact, the Supreme Court has stated that it is going to take a balanced stand by equating all sides in the matter is one thing that we need to keep in mind. In one more important development today, the Indian and Chinese governments have started negotiating with respect to restarting the Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. You might be knowing well that Kailash Manasarovar Yatra is a very important religious issue for the Hindu community, and the Manasarovar Lake and the Kailash Mountain, both of them are present in the Tibetan Autonomous Region, which is a subpart of China. In fact, till the year 2020, the Kailash Manasarovar Yatra was being conducted and many Indian pilgrims were able to visit the site. And it was done on the basis of a lottery system, a computerized lottery system. But in the year 2020, because of the pandemic, initially it was withdrawn or suspended. Then after that, because of the Galwan clash and the rising tensions in line of actual control, the travel to China has been regulated, and the Kailash Manasarovar Yatra, it was completely suspended. And nearly after 5 years, when last year in November 2024, when the Ministry of External Affairs attended the G20 summit, on the sidelines, the foreign ministers of both India and China have negotiated, and they in fact wanted to restart the Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. We know very well that the Kailash Manasarovar region contains a freshwater lake, which is one of the most or one of the highest freshwater lake in the Himalayan region. So that is Manasarovar Lake, which in Hinduism is associated with the consciousness of Brahma. And very nearby to the lake, so we have the mountain, which is called as Kailash Mountain, which is considered to be an abode of Lord Shiva. Usually when people go to this yatra, they in fact visit the Manasarovar Lake, they will do a circumambulation around the Kailash Mountain, and then they are going to come back from the pilgrimage. So this was the standard practice, and there were two routes through which Indian pilgrims went to the Kailash Manasarovar region. One is through the Lipu Lake region, and the Lipu Lake region was present in the Uttarakhand, and the second route is through the Nathula Pass in Sikkim. So these are the two routes which are present, and right now the government is saying that they are going to prefer the Lipu Lake route over the Nathula Pass route. In fact, religious tourism is one important aspect of Indian tourism, and the Kailash Manasarovar, apart from being a sacred place for Hindus, it is also sacred for Buddhists, Jains, and the practitioners of a religion called Bond religion. So that is the reason why the restoration shows very clearly that the relation between India and China are warming up. One more important development in the news of today is with respect to the Supreme Court observations on the language Urdu. So there has been a petition in the Supreme Court challenging a nameplate of a municipal council in Maharashtra. The nameplate showed the name of Municipal Council of Patur in Aklo in Maharashtra. And this nameplate, it contained the Marathi letters on top, and beneath it there were Urdu letters which communicated the same message. And a petitioner, in fact, went to the Supreme Court saying that only in Marathi the nameplate should have been present and Urdu should be removed. But the Supreme Court has very clearly stated that Urdu is a language which is native to India. In fact, Urdu as a language has its origin in India, and it is a language which is the representation of the composite culture of India, which is called as Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb. And this Hindustani Tehzeeb or Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb is the essential medieval culture of India. And in fact, it is said by the Supreme Court that Urdu is also an Indo-Aryan language, and Hindi and Urdu are almost inseparable, primarily because in the speech of Hindi, a lot many Urdu words are present. But later, because of some elements of communalism, Hindi and Urdu became two separate languages, and Hindi is usually written in Devanagari script, whereas Urdu is written in the Nastaliq script. But despite of this, the syntax, grammar, and phonology of both Urdu and Hindi are exactly the same. Is the observation which has made by the Supreme Court, and it is definitely a commendable judgment. There is one more important news with respect to the continued incarceration of Umar Khalid in the Tihar jail. In fact, we know well that Umar Khalid shot to prominence because of the JNU protests in which, for some inflammatory speeches, he along with the JNU president by the name of Kanaya Kumar were arrested by the police. Then thereafter, he participated in the Bhima Koregan incident, where also some cases were booked against him for inflammatory speeches which have led to violence. Then apart from that, he also got involved in the Delhi riots case of 2020, wherein when he organized a protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act, what happened is the protest got converted into a communal riot, leading to the death of nearly 53 people. And this case made the Delhi police book a case of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act against him. As we know very well that in Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, there is a lot of flexibility for the police in order to incarcerate a person without proper evidence. In fact, the Delhi police said to the courts that there is a proper case of pre-planning for the communal riots in which Umar Khalid is directly involved, and they booked a charge sheet against him. But despite of multiple bail petitions by him, the courts across the country, they denied bail for him, and a petition is pending in the Supreme Court of India requesting bail for him. But as we know well that under UAPA, the bail conditions are very tough, because of which reason his incarceration is still continuing. Then one more important development in the newspaper of today is the Supreme Court of India again made some observations on the 𝐾𝐨𝐰𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐚𝐝 issue. As we know very well that the Supreme Court has stopped the government's forest clearance and developmental activities in 𝐾𝐨𝐾𝐨𝐽 of Hyderabad in a dispute between the students of Hyderabad Central University and the state government of Telangana. In fact, in this dispute, the Supreme Court has made again some very caustic remarks against the state government. They are asking a simple question: what is the hurry in order to employ 100 bulldozers and clear nearly 100 acres of forest in a 3-day span? That is the main question that they have raised. Then apart from that, they also said that if any developmental activity happens there anymore, then the secretary and chief secretary of the state will be held culpable, and both of them would be arrested if any more developmental activity happens. The Supreme Court has stated that it in fact wants a balanced development between environment and economic development. So, but the Telangana government has shown undue haste in clearing the forest. Even though their intentions might be bona fide, the undue haste is forcing the Supreme Court to intervene in the issue. And the Supreme Court has stated that the area which has been covered or cleared is definitely a forest, despite the state government's argument that it has never been registered as a forest. The Supreme Court has made an observation that it is definitely a forest. Let's wait and see what the final judgment on the 𝐾𝐨𝐾𝐨𝐽 issue is going to be. Thank you.